So wanted to get into just how you found out. I think everyone has iconic people, of course, our family members and our friends, but outside of that, people we have never met that, you followed or have inspired you through music or through art or through sports, that when you hear their passing, it affects you and it shakes things up. And I think for everyone hearing that news, I really felt like kind of the world stopped for a second, maybe even for that whole day. It was paralyzing. And I can't really even describe why, because we all know that any of us literally at any moment can pass away. We all know that, us God-fearing people and people that, appreciate life and are grateful for every day, knowing waking up that God has given us another day. We know that life is precious, but for some reason, this news just completely shook and rocked the world. And so just want to start off by talking about when and where were you when you found out?
Well, for me, I know I was at home. I think, what was it? Was it on a Friday?
Sunday. Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, you're right. It was a Sunday. We were just grilling. That's what I was doing. I was setting up the grill. We was about to grill and all that. I was about to hook up some, burgers and hot dogs, fries for the kids. And then I got a text message from my boss, well, one of my bosses, and he said, "Yo, you heard what happened to Kobe?" It was a group text.
Mm-hmm.
And my other boss came up and was like, "Oh my God, Kobe died." And then I'm like, come on, man. Like, the first thing I did was like, let me go to a reliable source
Mm-hmm.
and go on ESPN. So I went on ESPN. The first thing that pops up is breaking news: Kobe Bryant, um, uh, death by helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
By helicopter. I don't know the article per se or how it was said, but
Mm-hmm.
my main thing that caught my eye, even though that was that hurt enough, was daughter. And I was like, stop playing. I'm like,
Wow.
because
Mm-hmm.
I have two girls.
Mm-hmm.
So automatically, and I'm like, no. And then my wife told me, looked and was like, what happened? It was like, Kobe died and his daughter. She was like, are you
Mm-hmm.
serious? So I automatically assumed it was Gigi, right? Because of
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he's always with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
she was nasty. I seen so many highlights of her,
Mm-hmm.
all this, and I think she was gonna be better than Kobe. The way her mentality was, and how many, you could see Kobe with that one-on-one. I'm not gonna get too far ahead, but that's when I found out, and I automatically started crying. Like, I started,
Mm-hmm.
because I could just imagine, like, the heartbreak of his wife,
Mm-hmm.
daughters, the fact that his daughter went with him. Um, Mom, what is it, Mamacita?
Yeah, Mambasita.
Yeah, she was going to have, Kobe was getting that trademark for her.
Yeah.
In the process of her just elevating her game to the professional level.
Mm-hmm.
The just it stopped everything. I mean, I literally, like, it ruined the barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I enjoyed cooking on the grill. I did not enjoy it that day. I just kept replaying, and I have a big imagination. I just replayed what Kobe did. How did Kobe cringe his daughter? Like those things I shouldn't be thinking about
Mm-hmm.
while I'm looking at my daughter in the backyard with me playing. And it hurt. It hurt. That's what.
Absolutely.
What about yourself?
Absolutely. Um, I was having a great Sunday. It was a pretty day outside, and me and my son were gearing up to watch Zion on TV. I think he played at 6. I can't even remember who they were playing because I didn't watch the game. But they were going to be playing, and I remember I wanted to see him. And I think it was like his maybe third game since he'd been back. And
For the Spurs?
yep, could have been the Spurs. I'm not sure. I can't even remember. Everything kind of went it's just crazy. I had my whole day planned out. I was going to do that. Then we were going to watch the Grammys. We were going to watch, the Grammys after that. So I kind of had my day lined up as the things we were going to do. And actually we had a project we were working on. I was working on some things with him. So I was actually in my room and received a text message. And this must have been like my friend who sent it to me. She's she's in LA. So I'm guessing I don't know, it hit TMZ or whatever. It must have been literally when it first broke, because when I got the text message and I actually read it, I jumped out my bed. I was like laying down for a second and I jumped out the bed, literally just jumped out the bed. And I'm still looking at it and I'm reading it. And I'm like, and I mean, immediately I was like, oh my gosh, why would TMZ, they're so reckless. Like, why would they lie like that? Like, I was like, I was mad. I was like, actually, like, that's so horrible. And instantly, to me, it was a lie. Like, I was like, this is crazy. So then I called my mom and I was going off. I was like, Mom, why TMZ saying that something happened to Kobe? I said, that's horrible. I was like, I don't know why people are lying like that. And my mom just listened to me rant for a second. She calmly was like, and how do you know it's not? She said, why would you think it couldn't be true? And it was just, I just remember pausing because I was like, why don't I think this could be true? And just to answer that question real quick, it's because he's 41, he's healthy, has a spirit that is so resilient, and just, I think when you think of bigger than life people like that, in my mind, literally, even though we know this isn't real, but in my mind, it's like, even if there was a helicopter accident, he'd be the guy that like somehow would like stop it or pull out a parachute and escape. I don't know. That's just how that's just how you viewed him. Like, it just seemed like it couldn't be like, it just was beyond, could not be real to me. I literally still, when I talk about it, I still am in shock, honestly. And then I start Googling. I Googled for a good 10 minutes because it must have just broke. I could not find anything. Like, literally, it kept just showing his name as normal. Wikipedia is just showing his name as normal. No died this date or anything. So I was just like, even madder then, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so messed up that TMZ would even post something like that.
Right.
And then I saw where Gatsby posted it on Facebook. And he was like, is this real? I think at that point, everyone was just more like, is this real? Is this real? And so then I called him and I was like, do you think this is real? He's like, yeah, I think it's real. And I was like, why? And so we're kind of talking a little bit and get off the phone with him. And then that's when I went back to Google, that's when it actually was all over now. So at that point, it was 5 people and he's one of them. You're assuming the pilot's one of them. And then now speculation is Rick Fox. It's speculation is several of his family members. And so you're just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so it just was pandemonium for a minute because you're just running around Googling, looking at Facebook, talking to people, and no one knows what the hell's going on. And then there did start being news of it being a child on the plane, on the airplane, on the helicopter. And then you're like, and like I immediately thought about her because just because they were always together. And I've been following her as well. And I don't even watch, the crazy thing is, I don't even watch women's basketball.
Yeah.
I just never really have gotten into it, but I liked her. And maybe because of the fact that I'm such attached to the NBA and such a diehard fan, because it's Kobe's daughter, it just sparked an interest for me. And I just loved following her. And she was just so badass and had his personality and his swag and all that stuff. And it just was cool. And I was so looking forward. She would have made me a women's college basketball and WNBA fan. I know that hands down. She would have made me that. That's when I would have said, I became a fan because of Mamacita. That would have been me, because that's just how much I thought she was so dope. And I loved seeing them interact at the games. It reminded me so much of me and my dad, and just him sitting there and him spitting knowledge and her listening. And I love it. I'm such a girl, I'm such a daddy's girl. And it just was so cool to see her light up. And so, yeah, that's how I found out. And it took literally, I was just, I started bawling when it finally, especially when you found out Gigi was on the plane, and just finding out it was 9 people and not 5. And no matter how many lives, it just got worse and worse and worse to find out that it was all these, a mom and a dad and a daughter, and then a mom and a daughter, and then a pilot and a coach, this woman who had 3 kids and a husband she left behind. And it's just the devastation just was unreal, and it's still unreal, and it just hurts. It's just all these families
Right.
have just, I mean, I've been so heavily impacted and will continue to be impacted even after the world moves on by these extremely devastating losses. And it's just, I mean, it just leaves you with a heavy heart. I haven't, literally my first time watching basketball was yesterday.
Yeah.
I watched my son play, and that's I could not watch even the tribute. I watched that and then I turned off the TV. I just have not had it in me.
How you feel about LeBron's speech?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was, I think he, I think it was good. I think he was kind of, to me, I think he was still all over the place a little bit, emotional. So I think he couldn't really, I think probably everything he wanted to articulate, I know he wanted to go off script and speak from the heart, but I think to get everything out that he wanted to say, he probably would have literally had to read that, because you're talking about someone who that's his brother. And so I think you knew what his heart felt. And, I think definitely his Instagram post was, you got it. I think his speech was kind of rambling. Yeah. So but what he meant. I guess that's all I can say about that. What'd you think?
I think I agree with you. I think he was, especially his body language. If you looked at him, he was moving around a lot.
Yeah.
He was kind of like side to side.
Right.
I'm really trying to get off this floor right now. Like, I'm trying to just play this game so I don't have to rethink it. He was trying his hardest not to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh my God, that tribute when Boys and Men just singing it, I cried again. I was like, bro, I was like, man, I ain't gonna make it, cuz it was tough, because it was just the fact that, all right, I know the last game that Kobe had versus Utah, I was a huge Kobe fan for the first time, right?
Right.
And because I wanted him to go out a winner, I wanted him to go out the way I'm used to him going out.
Right.
The competitive, because I'm very competitive. I'm very competitive. Even as a fan, I'm very competitive. I just I'm always riding with my guy, no matter what. Okay, yeah, he's a better jump shooter, but at least my guy could do this, that, and third. I threw all that out the window when it came down to Kobe's last game. I watched that game for the first time. I watched Kobe. Only time I watched Kobe was in the playoffs. I never truly watched Kobe's regular games like that, because again, it was just me being, I don't know, I think it's the fan base of Kobe that made me not like Kobe. It's just like Golden State. When we talk about Golden State, it brings this, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. I'm guaranteed this is not it. But Kobe was it. Kobe always been it. And I was being I was being a hypocrite. I was being very ignorant, of not coming off and saying, you know what, he's a great player. I respected him. That's all I use. I respected him. I respected him for his game. But the fact of the matter is he was an awesome player. He was a player. Just to name out the accolades, I mean, he was a 5-time champion, 2-time scoring leader, 1-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 15-time All-NBA teams, 12 times All-Defensive teams, 8-time All-Star games. 4 of those All-Star games, he was MVP. 1 slam dunk champion, and 2 gold medals. And
now, how many All-Star games again?
15.
Okay.
I mean, 18.
18. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
18 with 4 of those to be MVPs. Not including 25 times he's got 50 points per game. And 5 times he got 60 in it. And we can't forget him going against the Raptors and scoring 81 points.
Right. 4th on the all-time scoring list.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say, you know, just going into our next point, when we talk about Kobe and, you know, who he was, you know, he's the same age as me, born 78, a few months before me. And so, you know, he's the first player that I've actually followed his entire career. The first great, excuse me, not player, the first great. I followed his entire career. I didn't see all of Magic's career, his entire career. I didn't see MJ's entire career. I started watching MJ around 89, 90, around the whole Detroit kind of rivalry. But, you know, this is the first great that I actually saw his career from beginning to end. LeBron, of course, is following suit of that. His career's not over yet, but he would be the second great that I've been able to see. And so I've always respected him. I've always respected him in terms of his skills. And that's always where I separate basketball. I know a lot of times people will say, you constantly comment on Facebook or social media about this player or this team, and you're giving big ups and props to this and this. Because, I mean, I think regardless of who I like, who my favorites are, and who my team is, you got to respect greatness. You got to appreciate it, right? So I've always respected him. I will say this. I was not a fan, and everyone knows this. I'm a Magic Johnson fan. I like team ball. I've never been a killer instinct Mamba mentality in terms of the way it was described on the court, that it's all about me or nothing. And that's honestly the biggest part I don't like about Russell Westbrook. Right. You know, I think that whole me against the world and my team just needs to get in where they fit in mentality has always been something I've just cringed about. And I think that number 8 Kobe, you know, possessed that a lot. And I know people love that dog number 8, but I love 24. And when I say that, I mean, I respected 24. I still wasn't a Laker fan, but I respected him so much more as he matured and as he became, you could see he built a relationship with his team, and they respected him. They liked him, which is huge, because number 8, I mean, literally you hear about him being on a plane with his headphones on. He wasn't talking to nobody. You hear about him and Shaq getting in fist fights in the locker room. You hear about literally him kind of cussing everyone out and being like, F it, I'm, you know, kind of, you know, it's me against the world, or, hey, I'm gonna get all y'all traded, and I need to be the main person in charge, you know, type of thing. So Kobe 24 to me is what put his stamp on my respect for him. Because he actually led that team to ring. You can't deny that. Like, he led that team to rings. Whereas before he was, you know, he was a company with Shaq. And so that's the same thing kind of with Kyrie in terms of this level of respect. He definitely gets respect for helping LeBron get that ring, and Kobe too. Kobe gets respect for helping Shaq get that ring. Without either of them, they wouldn't have gotten those back-to-back wins. Right. But I think when you step outside of that and get your own, that just takes it to the next level. And I feel like that's what Kobe did. And you can't take that away from him. No. And as much as I couldn't stand his fans, I mean, literally the night before he passed, almost every other day I post something in regards to the Lakers or Kobe fans, just to piss them off, because they talk so much crap about so many other players. And it does make you get on the defense, because they just think Kobe is an end all be all. And shout out to those fans, because when I tell you, it's nothing like a Kobe fan. I've never met anything like that before in my life. They're just a different breed. They are a different breed of fan, and they embody everything about him. They really do.
You know and you're right. And to say, like, this brings me back, because I remember one time I was back in Florida. It was like about, I want to say 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, maybe even 4. I was back in Florida, and I was literally in my room, and I was talking on the phone. And this is around the time we did an interview. Not an interview, it was a show. And this time it was Fuego's show. It was Fuego Beats Radio. And
okay.
I had me and him had a good friend, more than a friend. He was like a family. His name was Carlton, aka Prophet. Shout out to Prophet. Rest in peace. He passed away a few years ago, cancer, and I don't. It's hard to talk about it, but me and him, he was a huge Kobe fan, huge.
Mhm.
And you know, I'm a huge LeBron fan. So every
Mhm.
time we got on the phone, I was like, yo, is that Kobe fan on the phone with me? And then he would start off, he's like, I don't want to hear Brick Braun. No, so it would go
Yeah.
back and forth. And we used to we had, as a matter of fact, Fuego has a recording of me and him literally going back and forth, taking jabs at each other on stats,
Mhm.
percentages. Not rings, because the rings obviously goes to Kobe. We already know.
Right.
But let's just say one-on-one, who man gonna win? So I was riding with
Mhm.
mine. He was riding with his, this, that, and the third. But it brought good feelings. It was very entertaining. It was very funny. We might have got heated up in every once in a while because he would just everything that LeBron did, he just act like Skip Bayless at times. But I loved him. Like that was
Yeah.
my guy. No matter what, we still say, "Yo, I love you" at the end.
Mhm.
Um, but that he was a Kobe fan, so that brought me back when you say that Kobe fans. Yes, my cousin is the same way. Well, my cousin, he's more Shaq fan than Kobe.
Okay.
He's not as bad, but there's some Kobe fans that's just highly ridiculous, and I think Gatsby is one of them.
Yeah.
I think,
Jerry,
yeah,
Mo Jackson. Uh, I can name so many. So some of them are a little more rational, but most are they are literally like they take on him.
right,
I think fans kind of take on
right,
I think they almost like take on their player. Like,
yeah,
and some people say that about me in terms of Westbrook. You know, who knows? But I think, it's just a different breed, and I've gotten in my most heated arguments. Honestly, most majority of my debates are with Kobe fans. Majority, not Laker fans, Kobe fans, and I say that because sometimes, and I think sometimes Lakers fans get offended. Like I'm a Kobe fan too, but it's a difference.
right,
It's a difference. Sometimes they can overlap a little bit, but there's also a difference
right,
between the diehard Kobe fan. And we got to remember, he is so many generations Michael Jordan.
yeah,
And you know it instantly when you're talking to someone sometime. You can tell that literally they never saw Michael. You can tell just by the way they idolize and speak of Kobe. You can tell, and that's okay, but you can tell it's their first time witnessing this type, kind of almost the same way we felt when we saw MJ, and you just kind of are like, holy crap.
yeah,
And then when you see Kobe, you're like, holy shit, this guy's actually really the only person that to date that has kind of been able to emulate
yeah.
him and get it very, get it, do a damn good job.
And this is my thing too. And goes back to the Kobe fans. This is why I became the way I became towards Kobe, is because, like you said, Sean, like it's their first time them seeing it. You know,
Right.
what pisses me off is the people that's seen Jordan and
Okay.
ignore the fact that Kobe was a copycat to Jordan.
Right.
So like let's be realistic here, okay? Let's not make it seem like this is the first time y'all seen this.
Right.
Jordan is the first one
Mm-hmm.
to show you that magic.
Right.
And I mean not magic like Magic Johnson. I'm talking
Right.
magic in a sense of that mentality, that
Yeah.
Mamba mentality, that attack. Like, I got this, get the hell out the way. Kobe, there was a story that Kobe, when he scored that 81 points, he told his teammates. As a matter of fact, I don't know who teammate it was, so don't quote me on it. But he said, one of the teammates said that Kobe's told him, hey, don't think that you're going to get the ball today. I got this.
Right.
And he did. He scored 81 points on the Raptors single-handedly
Mm-hmm.
for them. With Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose get reminded of that every day from
Right.
he reported on Get Up and ESPN. That's what haunts him. But that's also
Right.
one of Kobe's greatest moments, so that's what he cherishes.
Right.
Um, he hated that it was on him, but that's pretty funny. But that's my thing. I don't, you know, and I think that's what made me give that smoke and mirrors to Kobe. Like, and just it's just instead of like inhaling or assuming his greatness,
Right.
I got too caught up with the media part of it, where people
Right.
just downgrade and say, "Oh, Kobe is it."
Right.
Hold on now, like there's three different generations that kind of had a rant that had the face of the NBA. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
90s was Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
2000s was Kobe, and
Mm-hmm.
2010s was LeBron.
Right. I agree with that.
So let's not try to mix around and say who's best.
Right. Absolutely.
And I finally said, you know what? I'm not gonna no longer compare anybody to anybody. I'm no longer
Right.
gonna compare LeBron to Kobe. I'm no longer gonna compare Kobe to Jordan.
Right.
You know, even though they have exact same game, I'm not doing it anymore. It's different decades, different play, different rules,
Right.
different everything. Let's no
Yep.
longer, from here on out, let's end the debate of that. Let's stop it. Let's just stop
Yeah.
it. Like I had to delete Gatsby. I don't know if Gatsby ever noticed that. I deleted him because it was too much bashing of one man.
Right.
You, Sean, we could talk about on a post. Oh man, look, the sky is blue. Yes, and the sun is bright yellow. And Gatsby pop out of nowhere. Don't it remind you of LeBron? He's probably right. You see what I'm saying? Like we could be talking about something completely left field, and then all of a sudden a Kobe fan or a Kevin Durant fan or a Steph Curry fan or Golden State 5-year fan all of a sudden wants to come up and try to this bash a person that's really literally doing something big. But
Right.
they all do
I
different things.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that, because I definitely think the appreciation of each player is what the focus should be, right? I do think that it kind of reminds me because I'm kind of like, because I wasn't a Jordan fan and I wasn't a Kobe fan. So for me, I kind of was a spectator in all this. Like I sat back and I saw the Jordan age. I saw all the Be Like Mike. I saw all the people like you who, diehard Jordan fans, right? And then I saw Kobe coming in to tail end of his career, right? When I'm thinking I'm about to get rid of this dang on 23. Right. And then I see Kobe come in and I'm thinking, oh shit, like, oh my gosh. Like, of course, at that time, the first few years, you didn't know he was going to be that, but you definitely just saw something different about this guy. Right. And then I see all these Kobe fans starting to develop over the course of time, because you got the younger the people are, the more they miss Jordan. They didn't see him on TV completely. Now all they've seen from 98. Oh no, well Jordan came back as 45. I mean, at that point, no one was checking for him. Everyone his stamp was already there. Right. So these young people literally are coming up seeing Kobe, and then you're just seeing these fans start to develop. And what was so interesting for me as kind of the person sitting back eating popcorn was like, I don't like either of them. My whole thing with Kobe was never about Jordan. It was simply the type of player I gravitate to, which is just team ball players, pass first players, really smart IQ players. And not saying these brothers weren't smart, because their IQs were killer, but in my mind, IQ in terms of being able to assess everyone else's position on a court and then decide whether I make a play or whether this dude's best to make a play. And some people don't say, hey, people argue all day long that for that, LeBron doesn't have a killer instinct, he's weak, blah, blah, blah. And I don't look at that as weak, because that's just the type of athlete I was. And I think like, and I teach my son that. And I made a post actually about that, because my son is very much Kobe. He's a Kobe. He's mellowed out a little bit, and I've gotten him to not be so killer and look at passing as an asset. Right. Look at being able to see what other teammates, you're all on the same team. It doesn't have to be you that has all the points. It doesn't have to be you that shoots the ball. I mean, literally, Kobe was in an interview one time. He said, if I miss it the fourth shot, I miss it the first two, I'll get it the fourth. That's his thinking. If I miss it the fourth, I'll get it the fifth. If I miss it the seventh, now he's up to 7, he done missed. I'll get it the 8th, I'll get it the 9th. And that type of mentality is always like, I'm going to keep shooting no matter what. I just think sometimes we have to have a balance in assessing, is there someone else on my team that's hot maybe? Is there someone else that while I'm sitting here shooting this ball all these times that could possibly switch the momentum and get us back in this game while I'm steady believing in myself to think that I'm going to get the next shot? I just think sometimes for me, that's selfish. And that's what Westbrook does a lot of. And that's what Harden does a lot of. And so anyway, all that to say, it almost reminds me of like Little Kim and Nicki Minaj. I think the reason why Nicki Minaj had so much hate on her was not even because she wasn't talented. And when I say talent, I'm using that very loosely because I don't think she's talented. But I'm using this in the scheme of all the people who might like her, okay?
Right.
It was because the people who like Little Kim felt like she didn't respect or show homage or give enough, I guess, kind of appreciation to Lil' Kim, being that she kind of came on the scene with this Mamba mentality almost, like, I'm about to run shit and I'm about to beat you. And I think people felt some type of way, so kind of similar to Jordan fans. I think the Jordan fans I think the reason why that developed in terms of maybe not liking Kobe so much, because he is cocky. He did step in the game and said, I'm going to emulate Mike and I'm going to beat Mike. And I think for people who saw Mike and admired Mike, and then they see this kind of guy come in and try to be just like him, I think they didn't give him, I think after that whole appreciation part cut off. And it turned into, how dare you?
Right.
You know? And that's where I think all that came from. Like you said, I think you knew he was a great basketball player. I think you knew he had amazing skills. And honestly, for anyone even to get close to attempting to be like Mike has to be great, right? Because most who try that fail, majority.
Absolutely. You are.
But I think you just, it makes people feel some type of way because they had their original